took your favorite game and made a movie so bad you had to spew. What's a nerd to do? Well, listen to 8-Bit Movie Review with Josh and Andrew. It's 8-Bit Movie Review.
Welcome back, gamers! I'm Andrew Gonzalez,
And I'm fucking Johnny Silverhand.
and this is 8-Bit Movie Review, the podcast where we discuss movies, series, and all things video games. And today we're discussing Cyberpunk 2077.
That's our Andrew. That's our
Unprepared.
Andrew is filmed in front of a live studio ostrich.
A live, yeah.
So, Jesus, you can't speak,
I am
boy.
so out of it today.
Pound your coffee. Throw it in your face.
Fucking dump it on my dick.
Dump it on my dick, dump it on my dick. Sounds like a R&B song.
As I mentioned,
Baby, dump it on my dick.
call
Girl.
it Steamy Dick.
No, just dump it on my dick.
Well, that's the name of the song because it would steam as it poured on my dick. We got jokes.
Some of us. One of us has them. So this is a game.
This is a game that we are discussing today, which I said in my intro that was not re-recorded.
Definitely, Andrew got it one take.
One take. It was perfect. So
Yep.
when you hear that and you're like, wow, the levels are
yeah.
kind of different.
Yeah, the levels are different, and Andrew sounds like he's wearing different clothes.
Is he wearing a cardigan? It sounds like he's wearing a cardigan.
It sounds like he's wearing a cardigan.
Now, I know some people coming into this, and especially if you're new to the show, that you're like, they're doing Cyberpunk 2077 now. Two things. We were waiting for the PlayStation 5 patch. We were waiting for all sorts of patches. And we were waiting for it to go back to like $20.
I wasn't waiting for anything. I never intended to play this game.
Yeah, I roped you into it.
You talked about it a lot, and then someone I respect more said something about it, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll play it.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, it being like $20, $30 definitely helped. Because, no, this game is not perfect. This game is still a buggy fucking mess, but it is a very enjoyable buggy fucking mess. Up until you get fucked over, and then you're like, I don't really want to play anymore. But up until that point of realization, this game is very, very good. Very good.
Yeah, I feel like it has a lot to be an even better game. It could have been a better game, in my honest opinion. It was again, I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of big ideas, but you could definitely tell there was a lot of rush on this. We all know there was a rush on this.
Yeah, we know the controversy that happened when this game first came out, and they released it. It was spec'd for better generation consoles, and they allowed it on PS4 and the old Xbox Series X or whatever the last generation of them is, and just day one people are like, hey, are cars supposed to be just flying into the air? I don't think they are. Why is everyone's penis clipping out of their pants?
I remember the penis thing being
Yeah.
like a big thing. But we're going to we have a lot to talk about with this game, and we're going to break it down. Before we get into it, though, Josh, I know what you've been playing, but I want to discuss what I've been playing in the where's it been? Gaming Zone. Well, Josh, it's now the Gaming Zone, and I'm using your favorite voice again. The Gaming Zone is where we discuss what games we're playing. You notice I toned it down a little bit for you? That was you. I was thinking of you, and when I was like, you know what? I'll be less obnoxious about it.
That was still ear rape.
If there's anything else you're playing, Josh, obviously bring it up, but we all know you've been playing Cyberpunk. I've been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and I did whatever I could to pay the lowest for it, which is fine.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $20 and then paid the $10 upgrade. So, because like the graphics, surprisingly, and I don't know if it's because I've only been playing PS5. I played the demo, the PS5 version, then went down to the PS4 version, and the graphics, it's kind of noticeable.
Yep.
It was still cheaper than you can get it on digital. So if you're gonna get it, go to Walmart, pay $20, then pay the $10 upgrade. It's still gonna be cheaper than you can get it on the store when it's on sale. So, I don't know, Josh. I don't know if it's because I went from God of War Ragnarok, platinum it, Cyberpunk, platinum it, both kind of epic games in their own way. And then I went to Tiny Tina because, you know, I heard it was funny. I know you were enjoying it at some point, but it's kind of lacking in a lot of ways. It's
monotonous.
It gets very boring. It's a first person shooter. I don't find the weapons that interesting. You know, it's not like, so they have side quests. I like a good side quest in hopes I'm going to get some sick gear. The gear seems random.
It is random, yeah.
Like, you do a side quest and you get something that's way below what you already have. You know, I like the voice acting in it. Ashley Birch, Andy Samberg, Will Arnett. All great. And then it's just kind of, I don't know. It's funny, but gaming wise, I even upped the difficulty and I'm still kind of just like, I want to play something else. I think I'm just looking forward to the Dead Space remake because that's the next game on my list to play. I think I'm just like, give me something that's gonna grab me and just like,
oh, you're gonna get grabbed.
Oh boy,
you're gonna get fucking necromorphed.
Oh, buddy, I watched you play those games and I was on the edge of my seat and I just feel like I need something like that where, you know, Cyberpunk was kind of big story based, not really. I found the side quests more interesting than the main story, but and come on, God of War Ragnarok. Like, I think I'm just trying to fill that void mainly. Like, that story, that gameplay was so much fun. And then this is just a bunch of funny characters saying funny things as you kill them, but then it gets overly repetitive.
Yeah. Yep, that's the issue that we ran into when we were playing it for our group gaming session several months ago. Is we were all excited. We played it. We thought it was funny. The gameplay was fun. It's fun multiplayer. The side mission stuff's cool. And then it just starts becoming very similar. You start doing similar things for side quests. And just it almost starts to feel tedious. But yeah, we beat the game. We had fun playing it, but we were underwhelmed with the amount of content we got versus what we expected. And then when they tried to force in these DLCs, which were no more than just single dungeons, like 5 waves of a dungeon and then a boss, that just turned us all off. Like, someone paid for it, and they were like, "Yeah, I played it. It's like 7 minutes of gameplay, and I paid $10."
And they shove those DLCs in your face constantly. Not just at the start screen, but there's like different worlds you go to, and it'll be like, "See this thing? This is the DLC. You can play this if you get the DLC," and it's like, cool. And it's like Josh said, it gets very repetitive. It's like, go to one place, and then you're gonna fight a bunch of people, like, and then clear it, and then you go into portal, and that's over. I thought that was cool at the beginning when it was kind of like a regular RPG where on the map bad guys would spawn and you kind of go into like battle mode like that, but it's first person shooter instead of turn based, which I thought was cool. But then when all the main missions are like that too, you're kind of just like, so can I get something different? Even the trophies are kind of boring. Like, one of them is have 100,000 like money, and I'm like, okay. And then one's like, have 1 million money, and it's like, what? That's stupid. Just don't spend money.
Some of the trophies are just, they're time sinks. Like, one of them is upgrade everything at that thing in the main town. Like, you can upgrade like all your weapons and your inventory and stuff to the max. Do you realize how much money that costs to do that? It costs like trillions of dollars. So it's
Yeah.
just like they just want you to beat the game, find whatever dungeon gives you the most money, and just grind that for however long it takes. And that's not fun.
Now, I'm assuming the Borderland games are like this, right? Like, this is kind of the same.
I was told
I've
because
never played
I think
Borderlands.
Charlie had played the Borderlands games, and he said that they were way better than Tiny Tina at the end of it. They were actually more open world. It wasn't like, here's a dungeon, 5 waves, here's some loot. All right, let's find the next dungeon. So he said it was much, much funner.
And I guess, like, Tiny Tina was a popular character from Borderlands. Like,
Yeah.
she's from that.
Yes.
So, same actress, Ashley Birch, like,
Aloy from Horizon.
yep. She also plays one of the testers in Mythic Quest, but I always forget what her character's name is, which was a nice touch in my honest opinion when casting. But it's like, I like the banter. It's kind of fun. And, you know, I always love hearing Will Arnett be a bad guy. But again, I'm looking for something else. And I'm hoping Dead Space fills that void. I even considered giving Demon Souls a try again. Or maybe picking back up Elden Ring, but I think I just need something new because I'm just bored. I did also, not to go on a tangent, started Arkham Asylum, and I don't think when I do my replay of the Arkham games, I think I'm going to skip that one. It's so flat compared to Arkham City.
Yeah.
And I found, like, I played, like, I think once we got to gameplay, even the combos are kind of clunky and not as, you know, well, I understand it's an old game.
Yeah.
You know, they were figuring this out, and in my head I'm like,
Have you played it before?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When it
you
first
could- you
came
could
out.
skip it. Yeah.
And I was like, there's nothing here when we I guess I'll play a little bit of it just so when we do the discussion we can talk about differences, but like, there's really nothing there, especially story-wise, that I need to replay. Like, I know the whole thing. Joker takes off the asylum. He makes his own serum that makes him, like, super buff with bones poking out and shit.
No, it's the Titan.
Yeah,
ser-
it's the well, I'm
Yeah,
skimming over it. Like,
yeah.
you know,
It's the Bane stuff.
and they go over that in Arkham City. You know, it's just and the character design's like slightly different too. So some of the characters you see that look fucking baller in City, and then you see him in this. Like, I think Killer Croc looks a lot different in City. I saw him in this, and I was like, ooh, he does not look good in this.
You only see him for like a secret scene in Arkham City.
Isn't there a level where he chases you?
No, that's Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, no, I thought that was Arkham City.
No, Arkham City, when you go into the sewers and you go to Wonder Tower to go after like Ra's al Ghul in the Lazarus Pit, if you leave the way that they want you to, you basically lock out this little scene. But if you run all the way back to the entrance and then hit a switch behind these grates, Killer Croc comes out and just says something to you, like threatens you, and then just goes away.
Oh.
But he does look a lot different in Arkham Knight. He's a lot gianter. He also looks way different in Arkham Origins.
Maybe then I will play through. I don't know. I just feel like I'm looking for something new. Give me Dead Space. Dead Space remake. I want
it's
it.
coming.
A couple weeks from now.
Yeah. 2 weeks.
I'm looking forward to it. I want to play it so bad.
Yeah, I was watching something on it, and they were pointing out that they actually added new things to the game. So there's new areas where you use anti-gravity navigation, which is basically like floating around, like propelling yourself around like in zero gravity sections, which there was very few of those in the first one, but there was more of them in the second one. And then they did similar like they did with Spider-Man, where they change how your character, how their dialogue is based on like their status. So if you're low on health, your character would be like, or like if you're gasping for air because you're running out of air in zero gravity, he'll do the same thing. Like Instead of just like, hey, yeah, what's going on, guys? I guess I'll go turn on the generator. Like if you're dying basically from low health. So they changed it. And it was kind of what they did in the Spider-Man game, where if you're standing still and you get a call, you say things one way. If you're flying through the air and spinning around, you'll be like, hey, what's up, Aunt May? What's going on? Yeah, no, I'll be there for dinner.
I forgot that they changed that in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That they added that. So is this is a full remake, right? It's not going to be like a reskin, updated graphics like the same game.
No,
this
it's
is
remade from the... Just think about it like they did with Last of Us recently. It is a remake from the ground up. Isaac looks different. He was a very silent protagonist in the original game. He had very little to say, and in this game, I guess he has a lot more dialogue. But I'd say probably the main things that you do objective wise are probably going to stay the same, but adding some of the new anti-gravity like navigation stuff sections. But,
see, I like that because we've been getting a lot of games that are like, it's a remake, and that's just updated graphics.
Yeah.
And it's not really, nothing's really changed, you know?
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I think Dead Space 1 and 2 are some of the best horror games that have ever been made. They're up there with the Resident Evil series. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait. And we're definitely going to discuss it here on this podcast, which I'm looking forward to.
You're going to cry how scared you are. I can't wait.
Marty,
Can't hold me. I'm so scared of the aliens.
I have to dig my nightlight out of storage. Cyberpunk 2077, Josh. Finally, let's break it down. Hit us up with a summary, boy.
Hit you up with a summary. Well, let me just take the old gander at the summary that we got here. Cyberpunk 2077 is a 2020 action role-playing video game developed by CD Projekt Red and published by CD Projekt. Set in Night City, an open world set in the cyberpunk universe, players assume the role of a customizable mercenary known as V, who can acquire skills in hacking and machinery with options for melee and ranged combat. The main story follows V's struggle as he/she deals with a mysterious cybernetic implant that threatens to overwrite their body with the personality and memories of a deceased celebrity, only perceived by V. The two must work together to be separated and save V's life.
And if you're not familiar with this game, Josh, who is that celebrity?
It's Keanu Reeves.
Yep. Which is funny that he's playing, like, have you ever heard of the movie
Johnny Mnemonic?
Yes. This is like the same fucking premise, except there's no like alter, like, being in Keanu Reeves' head. It's just there's like a virus chip in his head, and his name is Johnny Mnemonic.
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 The M is silent.
And your momo.
Mnemonic.
And what is his name in this game?
Johnny Silverhands.
Which I think Johnny Silverhands like fucking cool in this, but you could definitely tell there's some dialogue that he uses that Keanu Reeves just came in for a day. First I also want to say spoilers, baby. There's going to be a ton of spoilers in this. So if you plan on playing the game, shut this episode off, play the game, come on back. We'll be waiting for you.
We will not wait for you.
Well, the audio will. But I guess we'll break right down into it. The voice acting is pretty good, but sometimes your decisions as V doesn't line up with the person you're talking about, especially Johnny, like the person you're talking to, where sometimes like it just totally Keanu Reeves. It sounds like he's just went into a studio and was like, fucking corpo scum, my balls itch, and let's like change, like the tone would always be slightly different. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, the dialogue is very good, but it's also not the best. So I don't know. It's like, well, it's the future, so we got to make up random words that mean other things. It's like, oh, look at that choom. What a total gonk.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's not that far in the future. Just you can say the regular words.
Yeah, the different like words that they use, I think came from like references for, because they did use like a lot of references from different like books of Cyberpunk and like a lot of things from Blade Runner. I've never seen Blade Runner. I want to watch it someday because I heard it's very fucking popular. But well, yeah, and they brought it back, with what's his fucking name?
Ryan Gosling.
Handsome motherfucker.
Well, Harrison Ford's in that one too, but
Yeah, but well, he comes back. Harrison Ford's from
Yeah.
it, but I'm just saying when they brought it back. So I don't know if they use those words in it. They don't explain to you what chooms mean and gonk. Like, do they explain that at all?
well, you just assume from the context, like a gonk is like you're a fucking idiot, and a choom means like your pal.
Yeah. It took me a while to be like, okay, so gonk bad, choom good.
Wow.
This game was a huge swing. This game was announced in 2012 and then just constantly delayed, and even upon its release, and I'm sure you listeners already know the problems that came with the release. They were the developers, like the designers were like hoping, okay, yeah, 2022 we'll have hopefully this done, and then it came up from above. They were like, okay, announcement April 2020, and they were like, yeah, you're kidding, right? And they was just like, nope, we got to release it by 2020, and the environments look fucking great. They actually got like building developers and city planners to like help them build Night City, which is it's fucking massive. Like there's so much shit. Like you can climb buildings and buildings and go anywhere, and you'll find like a little park on top of a building. Like everything was like well thought of. But then again, I feel like you don't get to spend much time in like this big city. It's easy to get like kind of lost, in my opinion. I feel like it's a little kind of all over the place, and though it's filled with NPCs, the lack of interaction with them,
you can't really talk to anybody. Like they just don't. They say stuff, but you can't have conversations with people.
It even says talk, and usually they'll say something like, "I can't be bothered right now."
Yeah, it's but yeah, I agree with what you said about the city. The city is fantastic. There is a whole lots of different districts that have their own personality. But yeah, it's a lot. It's very easy to just get lost doing side things, which was I won't call it an issue, but it's a similar thing that I noticed when I was playing CD Projekt Red's other big game, which was The Witcher 3. There's just so much to do in the open world and it's not the same type of thing. So it's not like, here's another fetch quest, or go here, get thing, bring here. There's very unique things you can do. I mean, some of the things you can do, like there's like police scanner things where crimes are happening that you can stop, where you can get money and resources and things like that. But then there's side missions that you can do that are all very unique. Some of them are as simple as just like, oh, I found a monk and he's like, hey, my brother was kidnapped by these robbers. And then you go and you save him, but because you kill people, they're like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have killed people. I'm mad at you. And it's like, okay. Or like, hey, I found a guy and he's spouting off conspiracy theories. And if I keep giving him money, eventually that finishes the quest. But I get to hear these weird conspiracy theories. Okay. Or like, actually, my favorite one was when you find the Zen master and you just meditate at different places in the city. I thought that was very nice.
Yeah, I did like that, but sometimes they dragged out a little too long, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go roll a joint or smoke while this guy.
Yeah, that was literally like, oh, put the controller down and play like a little bit of a mobile game while this 3 to 5 minute thing's happening. I'm like, oh, okay, still fun. Yeah, and then like there's people in different districts that'll offer you jobs or gigs, and those are usually pretty interesting too. I mean, some of the more fucked up things you can do in this game are from just side missions. Like, I remember when I did that really fucked up mission, and I messaged you about it. One with River, the cop.
Yep, I have that listed as one of the, and we don't have to go in order of the notes I have, but I have that under like the most interesting side quests on the summary. And I Fought the Law with River Ward is such a messed up side quest. And
Very
also
fucked up.
like this goes to show you too, like a lot of these quests you can do them at any point in the game. I was way ahead of Josh, and this was one side quest I haven't picked up, all because this is the thing too. This game's a little bit all over the place. I missed that I was supposed to call River Ward, and I did not get prompt for this side quest. It wasn't on my map or anything. So I read about the River Ward quest because you have to do it to get all the trophies. I'm like, when is that going to come up? And then when Josh told me he already completed it, and I was way more ahead of him. I'm like, what the fuck? And I looked it up, and it was like, yeah, if you don't call him after you do this mission, it doesn't prompt it.
Yeah, I had a similar issue with the racing missions with that girl Claire, the bartender from that club. So there was one where I went and talked with her, and she's like, "Oh, we're gonna do these missions with these races, and like, you know, you can kill people in them. I'll be the gunner, you be the driver." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And it's like, wait a day, and I kept fast forwarding time, and I'm like, "All right, now it's been like 3 days, and she still hasn't called." And then I looked, and it was like, "Oh yeah, you got to text her." I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I just went and talked to her, but now you want me to text her, and then it starts the time for a day. Wait for a day to pass. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And how fucked up it's 2077. We're still texting.
Right?
I'll get into that, but you brought up the River Ward quest, and I wanted you to elaborate more on that. We'll go more into some side quests later, but since you already brought it up, like, Josh, when you would tell me about this, like, you kind of spoiled it for me, but it still didn't impact me as much as when you go through it. This side quest is and that just shows you how there's a good amount of side quests that are kind of like this, and they get like really dark.
Oh yeah, this is probably one of the darkest quests. So, and it comes out of just happenstance. It comes out of some other quest where I was helping these like fucking rich politician people investigate something, and this police officer River was somehow involved, and then he just randomly contacts me afterwards because he needs help with something. So basically you meet up with this guy, and he's like, he's really depressed. He's like, my nephew's been gone for, fucking weeks. He's missing. And he shows you this video of like this guy getting shot by the police as he gets pulled out of a car because a dead kid falls out of his car. And you're like, well, what does that have to do with it? And he's like, well, that kid's wearing my cousin's clothing. So then it starts a mission where you infiltrate the police station to try to get information, potentially like go and like talk to this like person who is with who's the guy that was like kidnapping these kids, but he's in a coma. So, and the game has a function, and I actually think it's a really fun little puzzle thing where you can do what's called a brain dance. And what I mean is you get to see a person's memories, a series of their memories, and you can kind of scan through them for clues and things like that. And it's actually pretty interesting. So eventually we get the help of this lady who wants to turn us in, but I was able to manipulate her into helping us because, I don't know, I guess my cool rating was high enough. Or no, I think I threatened her. Yeah, I threatened her. Yeah. Stupid bitch. So she gets me a series of brain dances from this psychopath guy. So then we do them, and I find out that this dude was abused by his dad. They worked in like a cattle like factory where they like maintain cows or something like that. And then we go to where this kid's trailer is. I was able to hack into his computer, and I find that this kid was being groomed by this person. He's almost like twisting it like it's like a cult, and like these are wayward boys, and you know it's a group, and we'll all kind of like help each other. So you think he was kidnapped, but he was actually just enticed to go and meet up with this person. And then eventually we find out that he takes these kids and he brings them to this like cattle ranch or factory, whatever you want to. I call it a factory because they have the cattle hooked up to these like fucking like incubation machines or like ventilators almost. And he has all of these kids like hooked up to these things where they're just basically being fed fucking nutrients and like kept alive for whatever reason because this dude's fucked in the head. So you like save a couple kids and like a lot of them are dead, and you save his cousin, but the kid's like super fucked up afterwards, and it was very fucked up.
Yeah, I think he's harvesting their brain dances, and I don't know if he's selling them or just using them for his own pleasure.
Yeah. Because that's what people do is a lot of, and the darkest part of the brain dance thing is like people want brain dances of people who are killed. So the first one you get an introduction to is a guy that goes in to try to rob a convenience store, and he gets killed by his partner right as he's leaving. And like you can see his memories and see what he's seeing and investigate things up until the point where he dies. And like that's like the big thing that people want is they want these brain dances because they, I don't know, maybe they get off on fucking seeing right before people die.
Well, also they get used for investigation and stuff like that to try to identify things, and you do that not even when people die. You use a lot of brain dances to like find out information and all that stuff like layout, which we'll get into a bit when we break down the beginning of the game, to figure out when you're going to infiltrate something, see where cameras are. Like you can do it to scan to deactivate cameras before you go in. It's like,
yeah, you can hack into the cameras so that you can see enemies so that you can start hacking into them.
Well, that's a whole different thing, but I'll go into what I'm talking about when we talk about. I want to go over the beginning in a little bit, and I'll tell you what I mean.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know if you were done with the River Ward thing. We'll bounce back to River Ward because there's some romance stuff I want to talk about with that guy that gets really fucking awkward.
Yeah, he's I just honestly it just didn't feel like romance after we did that fucked up mission together. Even though I was playing a female character, I was like, nah, dude,
kind of didn't.
You ain't it. He's also felt like super broken.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It sounds so weird to say this, but it's just like I felt like if I fucked that guy, he would have been like simp boy. like I would have just been getting called all the time. Like, hey, you want to go sit on the water tower and.
Well, there was even after you do the mission, he's like, I miss you. Like out of nowhere after you did this whole mission where like there wasn't really any kind of romance through the whole mission. And then when he calls you to invite you to dinner, he's like, yeah, I miss you. And I totally like shut him down. And I was like, dude, I just saw you. Fucking chill. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm a lesbian.
Yeah, that's what I was. Because at that point, and it's very interesting, the romance options.
Oh yeah,
you're just like, oh okay, I'm gonna fuck this random girl, and then it's just like, oh, it kind of looks like you're actually penetrating them. And you're like, oh, well, it's people are doing body modifications in this game. It's like, yeah, I probably could just put a penis on and fucking go to town.
Hold on, let me go see my Ripper, doc.
Get myself a Ripper dick.
No, we're talking about dicks and stuff. And
so we're talking about dicks and stuff.
The thing is, when you start this game, you get to create a character. and it's penis 1, penis 2, circumcised, or non-circumcised, and vagina, and that's about it. And like, I was expecting something a little bit more funny, like give me a slider. Like I was thinking, like, can I give myself like this ginormous hog if I wanted to? And no, it was just kind of like, okay. And do you want a cap on that dick? Sure. But I ended up just going with a woman because I heard the dialogue for the male V isn't really that good, and that the female V is more prominent. And they totally hint it when they like did the DLC commercial. They use the female V's voice. They don't use the male's V's voice at all. So I think most people are playing V as a female.
It's weird because all of the advertisements for this game show male V.
Yeah, and I think after that, because when they came out with the new patch, I think it's now like you see the redheaded V woman like as that. You know, I know a lot of people were upset that like that they don't let you choose really like your gender identification. It's usually picked by the voice option you choose, not what you have in your pants.
Yeah, sorry, you fucking weirdos. No gender fluid option here. It's either you're a male or a female, because they get it right in the future.
Oh, boy.
Science doesn't care about your feelings. Hashtag Ben Shapiro. Hashtag Milo Yiannopoulos. Hashtag Jordan Peterson.
Oh, my God. And, like, I know that was, like, a disappointment to some people because, like, they did, like, that was, like, their advertisement being like, oh, this is going to be totally, you can be whatever gender
they're like, you can
want.
be customizable. It's like, well, they meant you could put fucking knives in your hands. That's what they meant.
Well, they were talking about like anything. You can be anything. They definitely bit off more than they can chew. Like they promoted this as like you're gonna be able to do anything you want, customized completely to anything your character. Which honestly, I felt like the customizability was kind of limited. Like, you know, down to even, you know, your hair choices, your eye choices. Like, I saw some characters that, you know, NPCs, and I'm like, how come can I do design like that? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't give you a lot of the options that they designed half of their NPCs to look like.
Yeah, I don't really ever care about customizing. I just gave myself a big red afro, and then throughout most of the game, it was hidden under a fucking hat or something. And until the very end, I was like, oh, yeah, I have a big red afro.
Well, yeah. Well, you kind of forget what your character looks like because it's kind of weird that they really hammered down the customization of your character. But then we're like, by the way, this is first person. You're not going to...
You'll never see yourself.
And unless you look at your character in a weird mirror in the future, because for some reason in the future, they want us to have the ability to tint or fog up our mirrors automatically, and then you have to press a button or activate it to look into it. You know what I mean?
Very stupid. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But customizing wasn't a big deal for me. I do think as far as your character build, there is a whole lot of customization options. I think the game does that very well. Because me, you, and Charlie also got this game about a week or so ago, and we are all playing it very, very differently. Very different builds. I basically just went a straight assault weapon, pistol guy, girl. No, like, hacking, trying to do a little stealth, so I had very small amounts of intelligence. Like, my intelligence was very low, which affects like your ability to like hack stuff. Really, all I was doing was like turning off cameras, maybe blinding an enemy for 10 to 12 seconds just so I could get by them without having to kill them. But then like I watched Charlie play, and Charlie was one of those people that like he did the prologue, like the very beginning. And then all he was doing, like I was there for like 2.5 hours. The only thing he was doing was NCPD, like scanner things, just clearing out every single section he could find, which is, I mean, it's fine because, you get experience and resources. Oh, and like he takes everything, and because he focused on crafting and net running. So he had like full legendary gear because he crafted everything. And then like he would just hack everybody. Like he would, from a distance, he would like breach them so that it lowers the cost of hacking. And then he would, short circuit here or contagion here, or, just hack everyone to death from a distance.
Well, that's pretty much what I did. He did the same thing I did then. Because that's what I did. I focused mainly on engineering and intelligence. I didn't do the crafting as much. I mainly did the engineering so I can break into places easier and like kind of sneak in because, when you decide to be a net runner, which, Josh kind of explained it already, you kind of become like, at first you're kind of weak. Like, because you can only hack one person at a time, and you got to kind of like hide and make sure no one can see you. If you're focusing on that, your defense is kind of low. But once you like get to legendary hacks is when you become like pretty much like a god. Like there was so many times I would just stand on the outside of, and Josh mentioned it earlier, I would stand on the outside of a building and then I would go into one of the cameras. I'd hack the cameras, take control, and then go through the building in different cameras and hack each person. And if sometimes these, we'll talk about them, the fixers who in each town give you jobs.
Yeah, they're the like liaisons for side missions.
Which they come out of nowhere, honestly. I feel like it's so weird when you enter a city. It's like, hey, I got your number. Like the introduction of certain ones are just, here you go, here's a fixer.
I'm the guy in this area.
Yeah.
You want work? You go through
You
me.
talk to me, Dino. And I would, there's a hack you could do, I think it was overheat. No, it wasn't overheat. It was one like overheat. I'm flaking on the name. And you just pretty much knock them out, like by short-circuiting their brains. And that still counts as stealth.
Was it called short circuit?
Yeah, I think it was called short circuit. And I would clear out the whole fucking building and then just walk in, grab what I needed to for the mission, and walk out. It got to the point where I was so powerful that I was like, you know what? I'm going to take up katanas. And I just started like, for fun, just going in and just like short-circuiting people or just doing the overheat where they're shocked and then just go in and lop off heads. And some of the shit that they would say, like before you kill them, I remember one guy was like, "Remember my fit," and I just chopped off his head. I was like, "What the fuck?" He's gonna say, "Remember my face," and I'm just like, "Whoop, nope, I'm not gonna remember you." But yeah, I ended up playing as a net runner, and it was a lot of fun because you just because later on when you get the legendary hacks, they spread. So you would make somebody like kill themselves. They would just take their gun out and be like, "You fucking bitch," and blow their head off. And then another person would see it and like, oh my God. And then blow their brains out. It was dark. Kat would be like, "I'm concerned about you because you're just laughing while you're making people kill themselves."
Yeah, the hacking stuff is pretty fun. Like being able to hack like a grenade in someone's pocket and blow it up.
Hack.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, it's fun, but that wasn't really my style. I mean, towards the end of the game, I did actually up my intelligence because I had money, so I bought like the best operating system mod I could get, so I could do several hacks. But still, for the most part, I was just shooting everybody and that seemed to work. Actually, hacking against that like Atom Smasher guy was pretty fucking huge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I was shooting him and doing no damage, and then I used short circuit once and it did 60% of his health. I was like, holy fuck. Is this that powerful normally?
Yeah.
I'm like 5 intelligence.
Yeah, that fight wasn't that tough. But we're kind of hopping all over the place. If somebody hasn't played the game, they're like, who the fuck's Atom Smasher? So when you start the game, you customize your character, and then you get... Now, I guess this kind of changes the dialogue throughout the game, but you get 3 choices of what you want to like kind of start your game as. You get the Nomad, you can be a street kid, or you can be a corpo biatch, because we all hate corpos. Fuck corpos.
I'm pretty sure I did the corpo ending. My ending was very lackluster, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the bad ending.
We'll
like
get...
even Johnny was pissed at me.
Oh yeah, no. Well, Johnny, I feel like is always pissed at you, everybody. But in the beginning, you choose these, and these are kind of like different. You get kind of like different missions in the beginning of how you meet the pretty much, which kind of makes your drive in the game before you the chip in your head. Oops. How each character will meet Jackie Wells. I went with the Nomad. So nomads are people who live outside Night City. They're kind of like wanderers. They hate corpos, and they don't believe in like city life. They're like road warrior style. Like they stay outside. They mercenaries, I guess, in a way.
No,
like
I mean
gang,
you're all
like...
mercenaries. No, nomads are basically just like people that live in like the wild. They just live outside of the city. That's all.
And I liked being a nomad. Like your main focus, I think, is like engineering as well. So, and I think most people pick that with hacking because there's like a little hacking mission in the beginning, but I don't know if they do that at all of them. But it's you meet Jackie Wells, who's like introduces you into Night City. Me and him, for my mission was we had to go here and steal this package out of someone's trunk, and we steal it, and it ends up being like a giant iguana. And then it does like this whole where he's just like, you know what? I can trust you. I think we can start a really good business together. And then they do a whole montage of you going into Night City, you doing partying with Jackie, going to clubs, and then also doing a bunch of mercenary missions. It's all a montage, and it's like, yep, you're starting to be established in Night City. That's how my gameplay started. You started as Corpo, you said?
No, I picked Street Kid.
Okay.
So how I started was, how did I start? Well, I know my first mission with Jackie was, well, when I met him was, I went to the Afterlife bar and talked to this guy who gave me a job which seemed too good to be true. He basically was like, hey, there's this like super expensive car. I want you to go steal it. Here's a thing that will, hack into the security of it. So I go there, I get in the car, and then Jackie opens the door and he threatens to kill me. And then like right before you can like turn the car on and drive away, the cops show up. They arrest us both, and they're talking about just murdering us. And then eventually they just dump us into an alley, and Jackie's like, hey, let's go get food. I'm like, okay. And then that montage happens, and then the game starts.
Yeah, I thought that they would do something a little bit more different, like with those different roles. Like, I guess you get different dialogue choices throughout the game. Like mine will be like, it'll say like a nomad decision, and you could pick that, and I'm sure it would say street kid with you.
Yes.
Which, it's kind of cool, but it just bottlenecks, and then you're all kind of in the same place. Like at first I thought like, oh, is Jackie only in my game choice as a nomad? But then when you play it, you're like, there's no way they would have done like a whole different game, because Jackie's constantly being mentioned.
Yeah.
There's a side mission where you go to his funeral with his mom. Did you end up doing that?
Yes. Spoiler,
because the thing that drives this whole game is you do a mission with Jackie for, what was the guy's name? Dexter Deshawn, one of the major fixers. And like,
yeah, he's if you watch the reveal of this game or any of the teasers, he's like the black guy with cybernetic arms that has a guard that you meet. Well, in the trailer, that he's that guy. They build him up as being like some big character, and he's literally just in Act 1.
And I really like Jackie because you mentioned that guard, and I heard Jackie being like, you think you could take me? I could probably take you. I was just Jack. There's a lot of things like the character Jackie. Did you like the character Jackie?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Like the things that he would say, he'd just be like, "Come on, man, like shut up." But he was a great character, and Dexter Deshawn. He has a thing where you can, in this, there's the leaders of this world, because I'm confused to where we are. Are we in America or are we in Tokyo? Like
We're in America.
Okay, but there's like an emperor, the Asakas, like they kind of Arasaka, they kind of run everything, and you're gonna go in and steal something for Dexter Deshawn.
Yeah, Arasaka is the corporation that runs one of the biggest security details in the entire world. The only rival is Militech, which is the other security operation that you see a lot of in the world, Night City. Yes, and they are kind of the big bad in this game, because your mission is first to acquire like a stealth robot that you can use to infiltrate the Arasaka place, because what you're trying to find is this. Well, you don't know what it is at the time. You find out that it's like some engram chip, and when you're stealing it, you actually witness a murder. The son of the CEO of Arasaka strangles his dad to death, and you are in the room hiding when it happens.
Yeah, this whole beginning thing is to just set a lot of the story up, and also characters. Like we meet Evelyn, we meet Judy here. Like they help. Like this is like kind of a long tutorial. They show you what we described earlier, the brain dance where you have to investigate the room of the Arasaka Tower.
Yeah,
and
you use the brain dance of, I think, like his mistress or something.
It's of
like
Evelyn.
That.
Evelyn.
Okay.
Because she like was kind of like she was a prostitute. Yeah, not kind of. She was.
Yeah.
And this was the thing that I was telling you about when you do the brain dance, and I don't know if you did this, but if you scan the security systems, there was a thing that said if you scan the security systems, they will be deactivated in the room when you go in.
Yeah.
So in the brain dance, if you scan them, it's where they are, and then, man, I haven't played in a while, so I forgot about this character who you think is going to be more prominent, but like, what was the Netrunner's name that like helps you go? B? Do you remember B? I think her name was B. I don't know. Let me see if I have the...
Oh, yeah, the lady at the very beginning, but then she gets fucking killed.
Yeah, because the T-Bug.
T-Bug, yeah.
Yeah, who, like, you do a tutorial for shooting. She shows you all this stuff. And, man, wow, they never mentioned T-Bug ever again. They mentioned Jackie so many times, but T? No. Like, they just... Yeah, who? T-Bug? And it seems like you're supposedly close with T-Bug, but nope. Once she's gone.
She's fucking gone.
Now, Josh, the thing that we forgot to mention is the thing that's driving them, and especially Jackie, is in this world, it's run by mercs pretty much, like everyone's a mercenary, and it's all about making a name for yourself. And Jackie and V, especially Jackie, it seems more, is just like, this is it. This is the job for me. Everyone's going to know who Jackie Wells is.
Yeah, because they want to do a hit on the Arasaka Corporation, and that'll make them legends.
Just like Johnny Silverhand.
Johnny Silverhand was a musician in a popular band.
In what year, Josh?
2020.
2027.
Okay.
And he has a cybernetic arm, and that's where we're going to be in a few years.
Oh, yeah, and he's a terrorist.
Yeah, he's a terrorist.
Yeah. He walked into Arasaka Tower 50 years prior and detonated 2 nuclear weapons.
And then was killed by Atom Smasher.
Yes.
Which they briefly go over him. I would have liked to have some more Atom Smasher, but he was just like a security bodyguard that constantly was just giving himself upgrades. He was pretty much just like a robot with some skin.
Yeah, I think the only thing that was left was his head.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's just full robot.
Full robot. And when Johnny Silverhand gets killed by Atom Smasher. We see his, and we get all of this when, like Josh said, shit goes south. They go to break into this building. I know everyone, we're jumping all over the place, and they witness the murder, and then, you know, the son who murdered his father lies and says there's people in the building, and then you're in the building, so you're like, fuck, we gotta get out of here, and you have the chip in a case, and right now they don't know it's a chip, so they break out, and then shit goes south. Jackie gets shot. I think the case gets shot, and Jackie's like, I'm just gonna put it into my brain.
Yeah, because they were told that whatever is in that has to be at a specific temperature or it'll fail. It's like a priceless relic. And then you realize it's just like a chip. It's like what they plug into their heads. Like there's things called shards where they're just like little, basically like USB dongles.
Yeah, they
and
put in
you
their
just
head.
put in their heads, and you could, see data or read something.
People's conversations.
You can view, video, audio, maps, whatever. So Jackie puts it in his head. You continue escaping. You get to your taxi cab that you had acquired, which rescues you.
The Delamines.
Delamain, whatever.
Delamains.
Delamine, I don't know. And then Jackie's like, yeah, I'm dying. And you're like, oh, shit. And then you put the chip in your head, and it starts malfunctioning. Wait, what about Takamura? Where does he come into this?
So what ends up happening?
He saves you, right?
Takamura. So what ends up happening is Takamura, who is the emperor, the main emperor's
Bodyguard.
Yeah. So like, what was the father's name? I have it right here. Saburo.
Saburo and Yorinobu is the son.
Yorinobu is the son, and
Hanako is the daughter. Yeah.
And Saburo's bodyguard, Tanaka, which great character. Goro was great. So what ends up happening? He gets dismissed, but Yorinobu says he was the one that killed the emperor.
Yeah. That's
so like he gets shunned. So before all this happens, so Jackie gives you the chip. It malfunctions. You go back to Dexter Deshawn, and he kind of plays you. He's like, okay, where's the chip? Blah, blah, blah. And then he shoots you in the head and backstabs you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wake up in a dump where Goro's there with Dexter Deshawn. He's like, this is what you want, right? And then he kills him. And then Goro saves you, and then you're just like all of a sudden in a fucking chase scene. So what ended up happening was, I think, so you might remember better than me, but Goro saved you because he knew you were there and witnessed the murder and are only pretty much the person that could testify. And does he know about Johnny? Because I feel like one of the endings I got, it's like you finally tell him about Johnny.
He does not know about Johnny because it took until the very end of the game for that guy Hellman to tell him about Johnny.
Yeah, because
he didn't know about Johnny.
Victor knows about Johnny because Tanaka brings you Hebrew. He brings you to Victor, your Ripper Doc, and Ripper Docs. If you haven't played the game, they're the ones that change your body. They're the ones that give you robotic arms, legs, anything. Anything in your body you want, you go to see them. And that's the like he goes, well, this chip's killing you. It's whatever's like,
it's overtaking your brain. You can't just take it out.
You're going to become Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is going to become you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my god. And that's pretty much the start of the game. And you have it's weird because like you have a certain amount of time to live, but here's a bunch of side quests you could crush a ton of hours, like while you're slowly dying.
Yeah, and you only start noticing how bad you are as you progress main story missions.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's why
Convenient.
Like the story could have been a little bit different. Like they didn't have to make it like you're slowly dying. I mean, well, yeah, they don't give a time limit, but they do sense like you have to get this chip out of your head. You have to, get Johnny out of your head or he's going to take you over. And And it was, I don't know. So it's weird that they're like, okay, but you know what? Take your time. Go run around, do these NPC missions. And
Also, if you want to give him control for a period of time, here's these pills. What?
I did like where he tricks her and he goes on a night out in the town. Did you do that?
I did, yeah, the one with Rogue. But he does get information, so
Yeah.
it's all good.
And he gets via tattoo. You have a choice, like to get like a goat or the other thing. And the other thing, it's just a heart that says "I love Johnny."
Yeah. Yeah, I did the other thing.
Yeah, it was funny. I thought that was great. But yeah, then that's like pretty much the kickoff of the game. Yeah, like, you know, you can. There's a little bit more with Evelyn. Like Evelyn first was like, "Oh, you should double cross Deshaun and join me." And I think you did the same thing I did, where you're like, "I'm not gonna backstab Deshaun. Fuck you." And then there's a whole thing with her where she goes back to being what they call a doll, where they
It's basically prostitutes that don't remember any of the trauma.
Yeah, and the dolls also get inserted like certain, I don't know, brain dances where or something where they act a certain way that like can be any of what you want them to be. And you meet Judy, who was one of my favorite characters. She's a lesbian, and we're in my game. We're dating. If you're able to romance her, you know, this character we didn't talk about it much, but you can romance certain characters. And when I looked at the list, I was actually kind of shocked how small the romance list was.
It was like 6 or 5 of them.
6
right?
people, and one of them is like not really romance. It's kind of random, and I think you know who I'm talking about. Meredith Stout, the one that like.
Oh, that was the only person I fucked in the whole game.
Oh, you didn't finish the Judy quest?
No.
It's a little long.
Yeah, it just kept going on and on and on. So I was like, fuck this. I'm at one now where it's like, hey, bring your scuba gear.
Oh, that's it. That's the final one.
Oh, what do I go diving for that pussy or something?
Yeah, pretty much. You dive
okay.
with her. She tells you her life story, and then she asks, well, you come back, you guys fuck, you scissor, and
You want to eat my scrum?
gross. That's I've never heard it put like that, and that just sounds disgusting.
Lick my fart box, baby.
Yeah, that's hot. Yeah, and then she's like, "Is this something?" And if you say yeah, like you want a relationship with her, she gives you like access to her apartment, which is like now also yours. And then they do kind of a thing where this is the kind of thing that bothered me a little bit from the romance thing. Like, so you're in a relationship with her, and then you get text messages from her grandmother kind of being like, "Oh, see what I mean? This is more escalating of the relationship." And, you know, you kind of got to please her grandmother a little bit. But then when you go visit her,
I don't
she
wanna
just
fuck her grandma.
No,
too.
I mean, like,
Oh.
to get, like, you know, you have a relationship with Judy and you're trying to, like, show how much you care about her and stuff like that. But then when you go see Judy after, like, texting the grandmother, and she's texting you stuff too, like, "Oh my God, please be nice." And then you go see her, and it's like those conversations, those texts never happen. They're
Yeah.
completely separate. Like, you get the same dialogue from Judy every time you visit her. Every time you first talk to her, she's like, "I was just thinking about you." And no, you weren't.
It's like when you go to the afterlife and that guy Tiny Mike is like, "Hey V, come over here," and like he has 4 dialogue options that usually occur after you do something where you save his brother Big Mike.
Yep.
But then like every single time he does it, he's like, "Hey V, I gotta talk to you. Come over here."
Which is obnoxious because you're like, okay, so is there anything new that you're gonna tell me?
Yeah, and it's not. And then like when you try to leave, he's like, "I we're not done talking, V." It's like, gee, shut the fuck up,
Or I'm
dude.
talking to you. Yeah, there was a lot of things like that where it was like they separated some missions from what these characters that are there all the time. Like Claire. You mentioned Claire earlier. You do races with Claire. You kind of actually build some sort of friendship with Claire, and she's the bartender at the bar, The Afterlife, which is a very popular bar where legends.
I helped her murder someone.
I actually tried to stop it so I guess I was trying to do some certain different quest to get like the car, but I guess I did it wrong, and she just murders the guy anyway. But when you see her at the bar, she just talks to you like a regular patron, like,
Yep.
not this person that you did all these races with. Like, it's like the side quest never happened.
Remember when we murdered a bunch of people in that race? Have a drink.
Yep. Yeah. And again, everyone, there's a lot to talk about, so we are gonna bounce. Like I had some sort of structure to this, but it's just so much in this fucking game.
Yeah,
And
you need to play it for yourself. We're gonna gloss over it a little
Yeah.
bit, but there's too much to include. And for the most part, we've only talked about positive things. There are also a good amount of negatives about this game.
Well, speaking of negatives, before we go into the further ones, what I was just gonna say, what'd you feel about the driving? You said races, so I'm like, Josh, by the time you got done with the game, how is driving a car for you in this game?
I got used to it. I got used to the slippery turns. You just have to get used to just like basically stopping before you take a fucking turn. I thought that motorcycles were a lot easier to manage. But I just like driving around in my like $150,000 car that goes like 190 miles an hour in like 6 seconds.
Yeah, once you get used to the cars, they're a little bit more fun. I did like. Did you do the Eldecado's side quest?
Yeah.
So you got Scorpion's motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's probably the best motorcycle in the game.
That's the one I use a lot.
It turns better, and also I don't know if you've done this. Whenever you do missions in the desert, instead of following the guide that they kind of
you just go right over the desert.
You just go fucking right through the middle, and it's an awesome vehicle. But that's at the beginning. All I mainly did was motorcycles because the cars were like you were just on ice. Like, but once you get used to it, it's true. I didn't know until I listened to the Get Played podcast where they were like, yeah, hold the brake while you're like, hit the brake while you're holding the gas. Don't let go on the gas. Just hit the brake lightly and you turn, or hold both. And I'm like, why didn't they tell me that in the fucking game? That was a major complaint I had too. There's a lot of things that they just don't tell you.
Yeah, I'd say my biggest complaint is that the game can fuck you over and lock you out of progression. And the only way to fix it is to go back to a save prior to when it happened. Unfortunately for me, there is a certain gig that's bugged out. There's no way to fix it other than going back to the previous save file, and I'm not going to go back 30 hours of gameplay to finish one single mission, which means I will not be getting the platinum trophy for this game,
which is unfortunate because, well, some of the things got a little tedious, but I know you were really looking forward to getting that platinum trophy.
I was on the fence. You're right. It's once I figured out, like, because when you mentioned the NCPD scanner thing, I was like, oh, I guess I get an item later on in the game. And then Charlie showed me, he's like, oh no, it's just an option on your map for like a filter option. And I was like, oh fuck. And then I turned it on. I'm like, there's like fucking
So
600 of
many.
them.
And they're so simple too. You just go into an area and kill a bunch of people.
Yep.
And once I it got more fun for me with the katanas because I would just like hack someone to turn all on his friends. So while they were all focused on him, it would take me like 10 seconds. I would just go in, kill them all with a katana while they were attacking him, and then attack that person. And then grab a briefcase or something, read the data shard. I stopped reading those data shards, by the way. There's so many of them where they're just all over the place, and it's just a little dialogue of story, which sometimes can be helpful, but at the same time, it's like, there's so much of it. There's so much fucking reading in this, and I can't read.
Yeah, we know.
But if you did not play the game, you obviously have to know when this came out, it was riddled with fucking glitches.
Yeah.
And
it's still glitchy.
Like no matter how, and I found towards the end of the game, like when I first started
Got
playing
worse
it,
and worse.
there was mild ones, but yeah, it got worse. And
Yeah.
I did not have many crashes until I started going into the end of the game. Like I had replayed some of the endings because it would just glitch in the fucking middle, and then I'd start over and it'd bring me back to like where you have to make the decision, which will change what ending you get.
Yeah.
And I would be so fucking pissed because it was just like it was so obnoxious. And
And there's another negative. The checkpoint system in this game fucking sucks.
yeah,
The checkpoint system is okay.
you got to save
It's
as
not-
much as you fucking can.
It's not that bad. But sometimes in missions, you can't just save. It just won't let you.
Yeah.
Even if you're not in like a dialogue and I found that in the last mission because
Oh, big time.
yeah, so I'd like the checkpoint started when I'm in Misty's shop and it's like talking to these guys before I get into the car to go to like get that Hanako lady from this place. And I'd have to fucking sit and listen through their dialogue through the trip. And then I died. Now I'm all the way back there and I can't save the whole time even though I'm not in combat at one point. I'm not in a conversation, but it won't let me save. So I had to get all the way through there to the checkpoint there. And then, there's your next checkpoint 20 minutes later. And then sometimes it's like, I'd go to do a gig. I failed it and died. Oh, well, you're fucking like 2 miles away and you got to drive all the way back there. Why? Why isn't there a checkpoint right when I get the call from the person while I'm standing outside and they're like, here's the information?
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes they did. I don't know if this happened to you, man. I would die or I'd try to be stealthy and I would try to like, you get the phone call from the fixer being like, I need you to go into this place and do this. And I would go in and I'd get caught and I would die. And then it would respawn me right in the middle of all the people. Like, and the phone call's ringing. Like, I'll be respawned and the whole dialogue with the calls going on. And everyone just is like, weep, like, there you are. And it's like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to be stealth if you're going to respawn me right next to all these people? Yeah. So I would have to do what you mentioned earlier, go to an early save file that was like a couple, like 30 minutes back or something to be like, because you get extra points if you do them stealthily. Like if you can do,
you might get more rewards.
And that's what I wanted to do. So like half the time, like that happened to me more than anything. And then like you said, the checkpoints are fucked up because sometimes that would happen to me. And then sometimes it would be, I'm at a waypoint that's like way out of the way.
Did you also experience your equipment downgrading to like level 1 randomly?
That happened to me once, but it wasn't the equipment I wore. I automatically just was wearing different gear that was like, I don't know if it was because of a quest I was a part of or anything like that, but I was wearing stuff that I didn't even remember equipping, and it was like at 1 and like 3, and because I remember all of a sudden I was dying really fucking quick, and I was like, well, maybe it's a different level, like what's going on? And then I looked and I was wearing stuff I didn't even fucking know I equipped.
Yeah, because it happened to Charlie. I saw that, and it was literally like one of some like iconic gear that he had been saving because it was level 30, and then randomly, because he went like, because he was confused about it. He's like, wait, I thought these were level 30. It was like level 1. He went back like 6 hours of save points, and he loaded one, and he's like, oh yeah, right here. You can see it's level 30. And then you go to his save file, and the same exact piece of gear is now level 1. And that happened to me like at the end of the game. So I'm like, why the fuck am I taking so much damage? And I look, and like 2 of the things I'm wearing are completely downgraded. They're like legendary gear, but they're level 1. I was like, when did this happen? Like so I'd just been taking fucking massive damage, not knowing that the game fucked me again.
That was one of the major problems. You couldn't tell if something was because of something in the game or if it was because it was a glitch. Yeah. It was like there were so many versatile like glitches, so many different types of glitches that you couldn't like tell the difference between like, is this gameplay? Is this, what is this?
Well, there's some glitches you can easily tell are glitches, like a car spawning into a shop that's on the side of the road,
or an NPC randomly bursting into flames.
Yeah, that too. Or driving along and just seeing NPCs floating in the air, T-posing because their cars did not load in, and I'm just like, oh, that looks normal.
Yeah, that was one of the major things in this game. Every time you booted it up, you didn't know what type of glitch you were gonna get, and they were so different. And like one of the things I got a couple times, and I don't know if you got this one, Josh, and it was kind of funny, but at the same time it was obnoxious. So in this game, you get many different vehicles and you can summon them to you. So like if you left a car somewhere, you can like hit it like on the D-pad and your car will come. So a couple times I would pick my car and you would just hear in the distance the car picking up, and then it would just, like using another car like a ramp, just catapult off into the sky and hit the ground and explode. That happened, and then I was like, all right, I'll pick another car. It happened for 4 cars, and I was like, what the fuck? I'll just take a motorcycle. And luckily that didn't do it with the motorcycle, but it was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah, I didn't experience that, but I did get hit by my car many times.
oh, yes. The amount of times I got hit by my own vehicle was obnoxious.
Or like the motorcycle would like really speed up to get to me, and then it would hit the brake and just like fucking tumble ass over. Like, yeah.
It's just insane. A game with this many glitches got released. You know, it just, I've never played a game that felt so broken sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not that broken. That's the thing. Okay, for me, yes, there was something that is
You
severely
get locked
broken.
out.
Yeah, so when so basically there's a gig, it's out in the desert, and if I look at it on the map, usually with gigs it says like this is a random thing. It could be a heist or a rescue or anything, and it's a very generalized statement. Then you get close to it, the person in that area, the fixer, is supposed to call you. They give you details about exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So I went to this area early in my gameplay. That didn't trigger. I went in, I kill everyone in there, all the bad guys, and then the icon's just still on the map. And then I go to my map, and it says SOS, rescue a person here. But once it's identified, it's supposed to come up in your journal under your missions, under the gigs category, which it's not. So the mission is activated but not activated. So the person I'm supposed to rescue is not there. There's just an icon, and there's no one there to like, people didn't respawn. So there's nothing to do. There's nobody to save. I went there and like I tried like just blowing up everything with grenades, like thinking maybe that would just kill the invisible person that hasn't loaded in. That's not the case. Tried calling the fixer. Tried, basically everything I found online was, yeah, you just have to reload the save point. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. I'm not spending 30 more hours catching back up for one fucking mission.
Especially when you don't know if it's just going to do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Luckily, when you notice something glitching out, you just load your previous save. Like, what was one that I just did? It was one I did with Judy, and she was like, all right, well, now take this elevator up to the roof. And the elevator, the icon's in the elevator. But then I'd go in there and I'd go to the panel to like go to the roof, and it doesn't load the option for the roof. So then I'm like, okay, what am I missing here? So after like 5 minutes, I'm like, all right, let me reload. Then I have to kill all the guys in the room again. And then, okay, now it worked.
Did you did the digital screen on the thing just not have that option, or did it go black?
It showed the floor. So, because when you walk up, it'll almost like have like a loading thing on it.
Yeah.
It had the bottom option, which is the floor I'm on. And then it just didn't load right above it where it's supposed to say roof.
Did you try to just click it?
Yes.
Okay. Because it would just be, and it happened to me a couple times because it did the same thing at a restart, and I'd be like, but it shows a little hand cursor and it would just be black. Like it wouldn't even say the floor I'm on, and I would just click around and then it would finally just let me go. Like I couldn't see anything and I'm just aimlessly clicking on it. Same thing happened with a lot of the laptops. It'd be like, because I used to go to the laptops and turn off all the security systems because you can do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you wouldn't see anything, but it would prompt that you're in the computer, and it would just be a blank screen.
Yeah, so I guess if I had been a little bit more diligent earlier on, I probably would have had, like, I'm not saying that ruins my overall experience, but it ruined my motivation for wanting to do, like, a lot. And I won't say that I didn't, like, I did a shitload. I think I only have, like, 2 side missions left. One of them is the boxing ones, and I think the last one is just going to finger blast Judy in the woods or whatever. Everything else was done. Like, I did the whole, side quest for Johnny where I got to play a show as him with the old band, and
That was a lot of fun.
that was pretty fun. I actually do like their band. It's pretty good. It's funny.
Samurai.
They're like, all these people are just like, oh, that oldies band, but it's just like, it's like fucking, it's not new metal, but like, it's almost, it's not death metal either. It's just like hardcore almost. It's funny though.
Yeah, I couldn't decide what type of music it was, and it was actually kind of threw me off because the music throughout this game is, I actually have a little bit of the music for the game. This is what you hear. I should have pulled up some Samurai. Damn, I should have pulled up some Samurai. And what Josh just described is not what you hear this. This is mainly all you hear. Reminds me a lot of Doom Eternal.
Yeah, this is very Doom.
And you hear this a lot when you're like fighting and stuff.
Yeah, the music is good in this game.
Oh yeah. Then this is Samurai.
We lost everything.
Keanu Reeves. And it's definitely very different. And for a while, I thought Keanu Reeves was the singer, but was it Harry that was the singer?
Yeah. Okay. Keanu was the guitar player. He does vocals too, but I think he was the lead singer because a lot of the flashbacks showed him singing.
Yeah.
I think only in the show Kerry
took over.
Yeah.
Because, you make a deal with Johnny to get Samurai back, and you let him take over your body, and you play a show, and you get all the band members back together. It's definitely a fun side quest. Like,
yeah, I think it's the side quest series you do that actually gets you all of Johnny's different collectibles.
And it was weird. I don't know if this was a glitch. I really don't. But like, I decided to wear all of Johnny's stuff for the show, and my character's hair became black because I had purple hair, and then my hair was black, and I'm like, is this a glitch? Like, that's the thing. I couldn't fucking tell, like, what was a glitch, what was not a glitch. But, the side quests. The side quests were a lot of fun in this. There's so many of them, and you can miss some of them. I don't know. Did you get Ozob the Clown?
Yeah. The guy with the grenade for a nose, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved this character. He's exactly what Josh just told you. He looks like a cyberpunk version of Bozo, which is the Ozo is Bozo backwards.
You didn't immediately put that together?
No, I did.
Okay.
Well, I didn't. Actually, I lied. It wasn't until later. I was like, oh,
Ozob is. You paused it and it says Ozob on the screen, and then you look in a mirror. You're like, it's like the red rum thing from The Shining. You're like, oh, that says murder.
And when you first meet him, you're like, he's got a grenade for a nose, and he's like, I just need to go to the store, and he ends up just going somewhere and murdering a bunch of people, and he tells lame jokes, and yes, grenade for a nose. Now, you mentioned the Beat on the Brat side quest. If you finish that, you get one more fight after doing the Ozob thing, and you fight Ozob. And it's kind of funny in a way because you're just like, aren't you afraid of that thing going off? And you're just like, no, I just like to, and then I'll go out the way I live my life with a bang and ha 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 ha. And so when you box Ozo, you can either punch him in the face once and his head will explode. He'll be like, oh no, V! His head will just explode. Or you could take him out by punching him in the stomach a bunch. And I think you get a certain item when you do that.
Yeah, I tried. I went to one of the boxing things and I was just getting my ass beat. Like the person was killing me in like 3 hits. And I was like, I'm like level 30.
There's a way I figured out, man.
Yeah, it's what is it? Get like the hand implants or something.
Get the gorilla hand implants.
That was actually something. That was a reward I got for beating the game. Gorilla hand implants.
Oh, you
some
can
other,
just buy those.
No, I know that, but they gave me one, is what I'm saying.
They gave me
I
one.
never did the hand implants. I had no interest.
I did them to try them out, but then I didn't use them much because they were. I was like, oh, they're kind of cool, but I use a katana, so it didn't really matter. Like the mantis blades were kind of cool. I didn't do the wire thing. There's like a weird wire thing, but
it's basically just cuts everyone up real bad.
But I only used the gorilla gloves from for the beat on the brat ones, and it like, dude, it changed the whole game. Like I remember, like I got to this really buff woman, and she kept destroying me, and then I was like,
that's the one I tried to fight first.
Oh yeah, she's tough, man.
Maybe
and then,
that was the 4th one.
And then
probably should have done Kabuki.
Yeah, you probably should. And then I looked online, and it was like, you don't get disqualified for using upgrades. And I'm like, oh, cool. So I just got the gorilla gloves, and I just destroyed her. Like, I got ones with thermal damage, so she was also taking like thermal damage, and I'm like, this kind of seems cheap, but oh well, give me that trophy.
Yeah, fuck it.
There was something in context to that I was going to say, but I forgot. Yeah,
you were talking about side quests.
Well, yeah, this is part of the side quest. Like, the side quests were so different. Like, like you just said, you box. A lot of the times you're going and infiltrating something. Some of them you find out like little stories. Like there's one side quest gig you get where your fixer wants you to go in and like check on somebody that worked for him, like a net runner, and then was missing. I don't know if you got this one, and you find out that she was missing because she was taking care of her sister, who was kind of becoming a cyber psycho, where cyber psychos are like people who get too many implants and they end up going a little insane.
Yeah, if you get too many implants, you can suffer from cyber psychosis, which makes you go crazy.
And this girl is like, you find out from all the shards, like you go to the house and there's blood everywhere and you don't know what's going on, and then like you read the shards of like her, or read emails of this girl talking to her mother being like, I have my sister, don't worry, I'll take care of her, she's gonna be fine, she seemed fine today, no more outrages or anything like that. Like, and then you find shards from the sister who's saying like, my sister and her boyfriend are feeding me poison, they're working with the corpos to try to take me out, they're making me go crazy. And then you find a secret room in the basement where you find the woman you're trying to find dead, and her sister's pacing back and forth going like, I didn't do this, the government did this wasn't me. And you're like, what the fuck?
I found that one.
Yeah, I liked the little stories like that. And
yeah, I like we already mentioned the most fucked up side mission, the one with River, where you find his nephew who was being kept as cattle in like an incubator by a crazy person. But there's another one where if you continue to help the politician people who first ask you to like investigate a brain dance to try to get information about a person that they're running against for mayor, and then if you continue their storyline, they call you and they're like, oh, my husband, he distinctly remembers killing someone, like an intruder in the house. And like you can search the apartment and you can find signs that something was covered up. But then you can also find a hidden room where you realize that an outside entity is monitoring these people and manipulating them, like on a like implanting memories and basically controlling this person, and they have no idea that it's happening. Like by the end of it, the guy, you tell the guy, you're just like, yeah, you're being manipulated. And then nothing comes of it afterwards. Like you tell the wife, and they're just like, yeah, you're being used. Like they're literally implanting memories. This outside security detail is like forcing you to do these things. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. I thought they were just scummy people who actually murdered someone and then cleaned it up. But then you find out it's way deeper than that, that maybe that did happen, but the bigger problem is that there's a fucking entity that is like controlling these people and like controlling like high tier politicians.
Yeah, they're grooming them into going into politics and mind controlling them to make the choices that they want them to make.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even like showing that like his competitor was also being mind controlled and being manipulated. There is something that kind of comes out of it. Did you end up talking to the husband afterwards and deciding if not to tell him or
I told him. Yeah.
So did you listen to when you beat the game? When you beat the game, you get a bunch of voice messages.
I skipped after like 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, okay. He calls you. Like he's one of those. And I guess if you didn't tell him, it's kind of like, hey, V, just checking on you. Big election coming up. Make sure you vote or something like that. But if you tell him, which I did too, he calls you and he's sitting in a dark office and he's just like, V, delete this message after you get it. My wife's in on it. She keeps trying to get me to take these pills. I had them tested and they said they're just vitamin pills, but who can I trust anymore? She's definitely part of this. She's definitely one of the ones controlling my mind. Please call me back as soon as you get this. I need your help. Like, so it's like kind of a sad ending for him that, there's no happiness because you told him and his wife didn't want you to tell him because she knew that he was going to kind of go a little bonkers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rightfully so.
She handled it a little bit too well, honestly.
Yeah, I kind of thought she was in on it too.
Same.
Yeah.
I think that's what they...
Well, she did say she knew about the security detail, but she didn't know the level of what they were manipulating.
Yeah. But you think that side quest is messed up. I think one of the ones I thought was messed up was the Sinner Man, where a convict...
Oh, my God.
...wants you to nail him to a cross.
So
yeah,
this, it doesn't get there. It starts off as completely different.
A completely different side quest where, this guy's like, this guy's...
Help me murder someone is basically what... And you're just like, this is weird. Why would this person hire me for just a hit job? And then the guy is so fucking weird. And you're just, what do you do? You're following a police detail.
Because he's being transferred somewhere for release, and the guy that hired you is mad because he's like, he killed my wife.
Yeah.
And they're releasing this fucking asshole. Why? So when you attack the truck, the cop is like, fuck you, and kills the guy. There's like no way you can save the guy. Like,
yeah, I did try to save him. First I went up there and they just immediately killed me, like, because I had my weapons out. And then I was like, okay, so that guy died in one bullet. So, like, let me wait, and, like, the convict gets out of the car, and he's like, no, don't shoot. Like, we need to talk about this. And I was like, all right, that's weird, why the guy could just get out of the car. And then, yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, like, after an awkward car ride where you're like, what the fuck is with this guy? And you can either, like, hear him out or just kind of, like, be like, please, just what the fuck do you want from me? Let me go. And you find out that this guy thinks he's Jesus. Mm-hmm. He knows he's done a lot of wrong, and he wants to die being nailed to a cross. And there's a studio that wants to make a brain dance out of him dying slowly on the cross and sell it.
Yeah.
And depending on how you interact with this character, that brain dance either comes out good and you get a bigger payout, or it comes out bad because he has regrets as he's dying on the cross.
Yeah.
And I've read that because he wants you to be the one to nail him and be the one to like watch him die. And if you wimp out and you nail him to the cross and leave, you get a call being like, "What the fuck? It came out terrible." Like he regretted as soon as you walked out of the room. It is kind of dark. You're like,
Super fucking dark.
What the fuck is going on?
At first, the missions are just like listening to him talk about it, and you're like, I mean, he's religious. That's fine. He is seeking redemption. Okay. And it is his decision ultimately, and he's giving his rights to the studio to do this. It's like, who am I to tell him not to do something if this is what he wants to do? And that was my mindset to the whole thing.
Did you just encourage him like I did? Like, yeah, you are Jesus. Yep,
No, I wasn't. I didn't go that far. I went like
did.
the more neutral, like, well, if you truly believe in this type of thing, like, who am I to, talk you out of it? And then like, oh, pray with me, V. And I'd be like, I'm going to do my own prayer. Like, not say like just the fucking words he wants to hear. And yeah, eventually he's on a actual cross and you pick up a hammer and nails and literally nail him to a cross. And then they hoist him up and you just have to stand there and wait for him to die.
Yeah, it was, I was like, so like I thought something more was going to happen. I was just like standing there and just kind of being like, okay. So, because it's
Can
literally
you die quicker?
He doesn't scream. He's just like, I'm dead. And I'm like,
Oh, I'm now dead.
he died pretty quickly. Because honestly, I was like, he just got nailed in his hands and his feet. Like,
Yeah, you wouldn't die that
that
quickly.
would take a while.
You wouldn't die that quickly.
I'm like, are they gonna make me wait in real
Jesus
time?
didn't die that quickly on the cross, and he had been fucking whipped for like 2 weeks before that.
Well, you know what? We found out this guy was not Jesus.
No, he was not Jesus.
Yeah.
He didn't come back 2 weeks later on fucking Sunday.
Well, who knows? There might be a side quest where he's risen from the dead.
I hope not. I'll nail him back down.
A couple more quick side quests. I know this runtime's getting a little high, so I'll keep it quick. There's the coin-operated boy side quest. So I don't know if you did that one where the vending machine is sentient.
Oh, Brendan. Yeah.
I liked that one.
I did too. I honestly was hoping that he really was like an AI. But no, you find out that he's just no. I'm sorry. You think because you go there a couple times and you think like because he's having a conversation, he's just a vending machine. But he like remembers you, and then like you find like this girl he made friends with who like he helped her through like suicidal thoughts, and you're like, oh well, he's becoming sentient. That's cool. I gotta help him. And then you go back there and his machine is taken away. So then you go to the facility and you find out that he's just a really smart and capable AI who just learned from talking to people how to act more human.
Oh, I thought he was sentient.
No, he's not sentient. He was programmed by a really good fucking programmer to learn from people and to become more human.
And tell jokes.
Ones that are, some of them are pretty fucking morbid.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty good, though. I don't remember his jokes, but I remember one of them he said, and I was like, damn, dude,
And he
fucking
gets
dark.
sassy at you, too, if you answered things wrong. And they rewrite him. I was
They just
hoping like
reset him, yeah.
you'd have an option to like, I don't know, upload him onto something that you could talk to every once in a while. Because I liked Brandon.
Yeah, like that random gun you find, Skippy.
That was the next thing I was gonna bring up was Skippy. I loved that game. That gun was fucking pretty strong. Did you use it?
I immediately put it away because it was not as good as what I already
Well,
had.
I upped. There's a side quest where you have to shoot bottles and with a pistol, and I upped all my pistol techniques. Like so it was really strong with a pistol. So it was really strong, and with the gun, if you talk to it more, you get kill mode or puppy mode, I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's kill mode is you it's like almost every shot's one hit, like a headshot. And if you aim it correctly, because it's got heat-seeking bullets. And then there's puppy mode where it automatically shoots the limbs. If you choose kill mode, after a while, when you get close to 50, it starts going, like, saying things like, "You're a monster. Please, please stop." And then after a while it goes, "You have killed 50 people. What is wrong with you? I am going into puppy mode forever." And it like totally locks out the kill mode because I don't know, it gets disturbed. But I thought that was a fun side quest, which you find out that gun belonged to I keep wanting to say Regina George.
Gina Jones.
Regina Jones. You find out that Skippy used to belong to her, and she takes Skippy back. And she actually configures it, but she keeps the gun. And because honestly, once it went to puppy mode, I was like, I'm not, or soft mode, whatever it was called. I was like, yeah, I'm not using this gun anymore. But I liked Skippy. I liked that it talked to me.
Yeah, I just immediately got rid of it. It wasn't as good.
So pistols weren't your thing.
I mean, I was basically assault rifle pistol guy. Towards the end of it, when I got Johnny's gun, I started upgrading that because that was very good.
Oh, I really like that gun. Which, by the way, was there a charge on that gun?
Yeah, it has a charge shot.
Because
I never used it.
It let me use it like a couple times, and it was like a flame. And then I tried to use it a bunch of times, and it didn't let me use it. And I'm like, maybe it was a glitch and thought I was using a different gun. But again, it's one of those situations.
Yeah. Fucking glitchy ass fucking shit.
Now, there was also a side quest that you brought up in our last episode. If you want to discuss it again. A big Easter egg on this one. For people that are Office fans.
I don't remember. You're going to have to give
Number
me more.
one surgeon?
Oh, yeah, there's okay, yeah, there was that's it's funny. Yeah, it was a pretty standard mission. You're given coordinates and you are told, "Hey, there's something I need you to recover that's in a fridge." And when you go there, you realize it's a person, like this Asian guy.
That threw me off. I was like, holy shit.
Yes. Also, especially because you're supposed to fucking carry him through the gang territory. So I just fucking ran. And when you bring him back to the person who's going to help him get out of the city, he gives the entire speech. So in The Office, there's an episode where you meet this Japanese individual who works in the warehouse with Daryl, who's played by Craig Robinson. And he tells his backstory.
Wait, it was played by Craig Robinson?
In The Office.
Oh, I thought you meant never mind.
No. So this Japanese guy, they play it off as like no one can understand what this person's saying because, that's a funny joke back then. But you can hear, and he's basically telling a story about how he was like the best surgeon in Japan. And then he was asked to do surgery on like a Yakuza boss, and the guy died, so he had to escape the country, and that's how he got here. And then he explains that like he did it on purpose because he's the best surgeon. And that whole speech that they have from The Office, this guy tells you the exact same story. And I was like, as soon as that happened, I'm like, this is The Office. Because I'm number one surgeon in Japan.
When I first saw this, I was like, it has to be a coincidence. And then you brought it up. And then I looked it up, and yeah, it was a 100% nod to The Office.
Yeah. Yeah, just the stories were too spot on. I was like, it's verbatim saying the same thing. But I no make mistake. I best surgeon in Japan. I kill him on purpose.
I love that they did that. Like, they did a lot of little nods to a lot of things. Like, a lot of the missions were song names, like Life During Wartime, Talking Heads song, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Metallica. That
Chipping
was
in Samurai.
Yeah, Samurai, actual band. Not really, but still. we'll try not to dwell on this too much, but you know.
Yeah, we've covered a lot. But I will say, for like kind of final thoughts.
Well, before we get into the final thoughts, I want to talk about the endings.
Okay.
And I'll try to make it quick because you only did one ending.
Yes.
I did most of them.
Yes. So the ending I did was you talk to Hanako, who is like, we gotta take down my brother who killed my dad, and if you do that, I'll help you get the chip out of you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did that.
Johnny's pissed.
Yeah. So I decided to do that. Johnny was like, give me control. I'll get this person and we'll just fucking go in there and we'll rip shit up. We'll take them all down and we'll force them to take this out of you. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And then they're like, well, do you want to contact this person, Pan Am, for help? Do you want to contact this person for help? And I was just like, nah, I'll do it myself. So you go, you rescue Hanako, you go to Arasaka Tower, you fight your way through all these guards, you kill his personal bodyguard, Atom Smasher, the cybernetic dude. You go and you find Yorinobu, and he's just ready to kill himself. You're super fucked up, like the chip in your head, Johnny's chip, is malfunctioning to the point of you're passing out all the time and fucking puking up blood and shit. And basically the sister comes in and she's like, yeah, I'll take care of this. You go and you get the chip taken out. So I wake up in like fucking orbit in this medical facility, and it does this thing where it's just like a loop. Like a person comes in and they're like, I'm going to do these tests and please don't delay. Or
This ending sucked.
it sucked. So eventually it's just a loop of you doing these same things and not getting anywhere, and then hallucinating, waking up from nightmares. And then eventually Takamura comes in, and he's just like, here's what they're willing to do. We did the surgery, but we can't fix you dying. You have basically 6 months to live. You're just going to fucking die. But what we're offering to you, because you kind of see what happens after, they had already created the technology, because what Johnny was they took his personality and they put it into a chip because they wanted to create a way to upload a person into a new body. So,
Which they end up doing.
Which they do, yeah, because they take the dead dad's personality and they put it into the son. And then he explains what happened. So now the dad is in the son's body running the company again. So they're like, if you want, Hanako said that we can save you. We're going to put you on like in like cryogenic sleep until we have a host body for you, which we don't know how long that's going to take. So basically you just go in and they put you under, and that's the end of the game. And it's just, like you said, you just start getting phone calls from people like, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. And that was the ending. And I was like, that sucked.
If you say, no, I want to live my own 6 months, and that you want to leave the space station, they'll put you in a spacesuit, and it ends with you like walking out into like a airlock bay and then like touching the window as you see space. And then it's like, then you get like a bunch of phone calls, which was weird because I got a phone call from Judy, who like you call before the mission and like you're like, I love you, baby, and then like you're like, I'm like, I gotta get back to Judy, so I'm gonna go back, and then you get a phone call from her where she's like, you know, I can't be with you, I'm leaving, and you're like, what, Judy? No, like I'm coming back from space for you.
Yeah, Judy, because after the second time you do the test, they're like, you can now make phone calls. Judy wasn't an option.
It's probably because you didn't finish the whole quest, like her, the diving quest. If you do, she says, just get back to me. And then all your endings coincide with, there's only one ending that ends up being like a happy ending for you and Judy. like, which I'll go into in a bit.
I got nothing else to say. My ending's over.
So I'll try not to be long-winded about this because I did a couple endings. I did that one. The thing that's kind of weird is Takemura's story kind of fizzles out a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
If you don't save him at one point, because there's a point where he can die.
Is that the point where isn't there a trophy for saving him? I thought.
Yes,
I didn't get one.
You get the trophy when you finish the game. If you don't save him, he's not at all at the end. Like it's that guy with glasses who's kind of a little fucking bitch. Hellman ends up being the one telling you about your body choices, and Takemura is not there. But if you it sucked because I had to sit through this ending all over again once I went back, saved Takemura, and then just went to the end. This was the last trophy I needed, so I just went fucking back and blasted through the end where I had one option. It was to...
When can you lose him? Is that when Oda... So you kidnap Hanako during the parade, and then if you don't go back to get him, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I went back to get him because that was an option. I was like...
I didn't see the room. They don't prompt you, like give you an option to save him. Like it's kind of totally secret because most of the times they'll be like, optional, you can do this, and they don't do that with him.
It doesn't pop up until you actually go up the stairs back towards where you are because you fall through the floor after they basically they're just like the whole place is surrounded. Get out of here, leave as fast as you can, the place is coming down. But if you like go up the stairs and back up, there is an option to go save him.
It's once you enter the room, and if you save him, that's how you get like I forgot what the name of the trophy is, but it's because he's at the end. You get this trophy.
Yeah,
and that's the only difference of that. So there's a couple different endings you can get, and
is it not a specific ending? Because I did not get that trophy, but he was alive at the end.
You should have gotten that trophy.
I'll check.
It's if you do that ending. You should check. I forgot what it's called. Look at the list, but you should have. But if you've done like everything, you get a couple options. Like one was called Pan Am. One was let Johnny take over and contact Rogue and do what they did before and retake Arasaka tower. Or there's a quick ending, which I'll go over real quick. The easy way out.
Is that where you could just kill yourself?
Yeah, you throw the pills. It ends quick. You go, you know what? Fuck this. You throw the pills out, immediately put the gun to your head, and pull the trigger, and credits roll.
Wow.
And it's like, wait, what? What just fucking happened? My favorite ending, there's two really good endings here. The cool thing about the endings in this game is, depending on, instead of like what most games is like, you go through the whole thing and just the cutscene's going to be different. The mission is different. You get, depending on what you choose, the mission is slightly different. The best one, I thought, which I'll go in more detail of this one and rush through the other ones, was the avocado. Am I saying that right?
El Ducado.
You're
saying almost avocado.
Avocados. The Pan Am ending. Pan Am, besides Judy, who I actually liked Pan Am better, but if you're a woman, you can't romance her.
I wanted to bang Pan Am so bad.
She kept just turning me down. I touched her hand, but she's like, V, no. And it's like, what? And then it's like, no, she only likes dudes. And it's like, God damn it.
I can be a dude. Change it.
Yeah, I wonder if you changed it halfway through the game that it would like let you. But her side quest was great. You kind of get a relationship with their nomad clan, and then you have the option to, and I don't, you don't mind spoilers, Josh.
I already looked up the trophies. I know.
So at this point, you call Pan Am, and she's been working on this tank, and it's so much fun. You get to use this
the basilisk, right?
Yeah, you get to use the hovering tank, which baffled me. There's no flying cars in this. There should have been flying cars.
Well, there were.
Yeah, but you don't get to use
them. Only rich people had them.
Yeah. And it was awesome. Like, you're blowing up shit with this tank. It's so much fucking fun. You're storming with Saul, who's the leader. Well, in Pan Am becomes a leader too. With her and Pan Am and Mitch. And it's like awesome. You get this camaraderie. You get an Eldecado's jacket, and you become one of them. And I fucking loved it. Also, spoiler, you go in. The Atom Smasher fight's slightly different, and Atom Smasher blasts in. And Saul's on the ground, and he's slowly walking to Saul, and Saul's like, "You motherfucker!" and just shooting a shotgun at him. And Atom Smasher lifts his foot up and then just fucking smashes Saul's head like a fucking pumpkin. And you're like, "Holy shit!" and then at the end of that, Panam's now the full leader. If you romanced somebody, I assume this is what happens. Like, they're like, somebody's waiting back at the camp for you before we leave. You still only have 6 months to live. I believe every ending ends the same in that aspect. Like this, you get the choice again. Oh, you didn't get the choice in that one. Did you let No, you didn't. So most endings, you get the choice at the end to let Johnny take your body, or you keep your body.
Yeah, the choice to let Johnny take over was only when I was deciding what we were going to do for the last mission.
And that choice, when you do, it's like the same ending. Like in multiple endings, they'll be like, "Do you want Johnny to take over your body?" And when you do, it's the same ending no matter what end mission you chose. But if you choose V, you go to the camp, like someone's waiting for you. And with me, it was Judy. Judy was going to leave the city with me, and we were going to start a life together. And it's really cool. You go and you're like, "I'll find a different way to live." And it ends with you and Panam, which you're not in a romance, with your arm around her, looking up at the stars, riding on the tank, which I thought was really cool. Which, by the way, I heard if you're a male and you're a romancer, you fuck her in the tank.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned the Johnny ending. If you chose for Johnny to take control, you take over as V, and you're, for some reason, teaching some kid how to play guitar. You're pretty much Johnny Silverhand and V's body, and you get a guitar, you give it to the kid, and then you drive off kind of on a bus and leaving Night City forever. But then the calls you get, if you romance Judy, it's very depressing because you get a voicemail of her being like, "V, where have you been?" Like, Johnny didn't contact anyone that knew her. Like, it was just like, "V, where have you been? I'm so alone. I've been waiting for you. It's been months. I just need to know if you're alive." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is
Jesus Christ.
depressing." And then, that's it for that quest. And then there's another quest where if you decide to let Johnny take over and you storm with Rogue, that's another cool quest. I don't want to spoil that one. I'm going to let you do that one. The way that ends is really fucking cool. And then again, it's like you get one or the other ending. The ending for that is you become like, you get a trophy for it. You become a legend of the afterlife, and you're kind of in control of the afterlife. And then I don't get the ending. You're saying you're doing one more job because you only got 6 months to live, and it ends with you going into space, looking at a casino in space, and you have a gun in your hand and you're floating in space. I don't know if you're gonna shoot like the casino from the outside and make it implode. But it just goes to credits. I don't get it. If you're listening to this and you understand, please send it in, because I was like, wait, I don't get it. She's like, one more job. And then she just goes into space and she's floating there, and she pulls out a pistol and points it at this floating casino that you randomly hear like the ads and stuff talking about throughout the game. So, and, I know people are like, "Oh, why don't you go into detail of the rogue mission?" It's fun. Just play it. I won't spoil that one. And then I feel like I'm going on and on and on, Josh.
Yep.
There's one more ending, and I told you about this last night. The secret ending. Where if you're good with Johnny, which I guess I didn't realize, because they do have like a counter. Like when you press pause, I don't really know like for different percentages, and I guess I didn't get what they meant. And I guess it's your relationship with Johnny, like what percentage it is, and if it's high, if you don't talk to John, if you sit for 7 minutes and wait through the decisions, Johnny will go, "Fuck it, let's take out Arasaka on our own." And then you do that, and then you get like a different ending. I did not play that ending. I don't know how the ending goes, but it's pretty much just, I heard it's supposed to be harder because you don't have anybody with you. It's just you. And that was my long rant about the endings. It was a lot to go through all of them, but I did like playing them because it was a different mission each time. And I like that instead of just replaying the same thing over and over again just to see the different endings.
Yeah, game is a lot of options, a lot of different ways to play it. Very intriguing side missions and main missions. It's worth a play. Just be very wary of things that seem like glitches, because the biggest way to fix them is just load up your last autosave.
Yeah, and
if you do that, you'll be fine. You can do everything, but
the annoyance
be diligent.
is you have to save as much as you can. Like if you think like
you gotta save scum, that's sucks to say, but yeah,
especially with decisions, because making the wrong decision could lock out something. Like when somebody asks you a question, so like I would like, if you think you're going to be asked a certain choice, definitely save. So if it's like, fuck, you fucked it up, load it back up, pick a different answer, see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that for a couple things. Yeah, overall, I'm not disappointed with the game. I still think it was a good game. Just disappointed with it not fixing itself. Like, just fucking progress that one quest, and then I would be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to platinum this game. But at this point, I'm just going to uninstall it and play something else. Get Dead Space.
Well, I'm hoping that there's a new DLC coming out for it, Phantom Liberty. I'm hoping maybe
I think Idris Elba's in that one.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how that'll have to play, because when you beat the game, it just brings you right back before you did the ending. So I'm assuming that's what this DLC is going to kind of be like.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's a different side quest later on that you get. Did you meet the Asian girl singers? Something Crush?
Asian girl singers? No.
You've probably seen posters of them everywhere. Let's see. What was...
I met this one singer who was like this full robot.
Lizzie Wizzy?
Yeah, and she murders a guy, and then you're just like, yeah, I'll get rid of this for you. And then she's like, wow, I kind of really like doing that.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, is she just going to keep killing people?
She said she texted me later, and I couldn't find anything of where I can watch it, but I guess she made a brain dance with me in it, and I don't know how you can watch that. And I was just like, oh, okay.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was a weird side quest, but it was Us Cracks. It's these three singers, and they get into a whole thing, and I don't think you did it. There's a whole side quest with them and Carrie, who, like, you spent a lot more time with Carrie. Like,
yeah, I didn't finish the Carrie.
it's so much fun.
I don't have any more side quests with Carrie, so
no. If you this is the thing also, and not to keep going, but some side quests you have to wait like days. Like you have to wait like for them to call you and then just be like, hey, I need you for something. And that's what happened with this Us Cracks thing. When I finished the game, one of them contacted me and was like, help me find my stalker. And I'm like, I thought I did all the side quests. There's more fucking side quests. It just kept going. But
this podcast,
I'm fucking wrapping up. Yeah. So you gave your final thoughts pretty much, right?
Yeah. I think it's a very good game. It's worth, honestly, if I had paid full price, I still would have been happy with the decision. I'm happy I only paid $30, but no, I think it's a very good game. It's not perfect, but yeah, just heed the warnings that we had if you end up playing it. and just be very good about saving so that if you encounter some sort of glitch that doesn't allow you to progress something, just you can go back easily. And, you know, other than that, the glitchy stuff that I found is just funny. It's not game breaking.
Yeah.
Like people T-posing, floating in the fucking air because their car's not there. That's funny.
Or did you get the invisible cars?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. You just people
sitting-
standing, floating in the road because their car didn't load in. And the character model is supposed to be sitting in a car, but because there's no car there, they're just floating. That's great. That's good stuff. So, yeah, I would highly recommend this game. I think it's a lot of fun. And I'm not even a big first-person shooter or even first-person perspective type game guy. But it's not bad. Other than trying to drive in first person. Fuck that. Immediately switch to third.
Oh yeah, that would, we didn't talk about that, but that was so stupid. I tried, but like you're so like
Field of Vision's terrible.
The vision is fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like it's different if you're. I get it. They want to be like you're an actual car, but no, it didn't work.
You're an actual car.
Yeah, oh, well, you're really driving.
Look at me in my car.
But yeah, I think I would have. My final thoughts are, I think it's a really fun game. If you're looking for something fun, this was fun. There's a lot of engaging story in this. Again, I feel like it's an unfinished game. It just needs some tweaks, like to the point where when you run with the samurai sword, you run like in a way that a ninja would run. Like, but if you put it in capture mode, your character's always in one position, like not holding the sword the way that you're holding it. Even when you're attacking, it's just flat. It's just like you're obviously shooting your gun and you're just holding your gun up, like posing. And it's just little things like that just make me think that this game could have been a little bit more polished. Maybe if they waited till this year, it would have been a little bit better. But again, the glitches aren't, that's just being picky. The glitches aren't obviously that annoying. Towards the end though, the crashes, don't know what the fuck is going on with that. They need to get another patch. You will get it. Make sure when you play this, you put your PlayStation 5 on rest mode because this game gets patched a lot. A lot. But a lot of it's funny. We talked about in a previous episode how Jackie just busts out of the locker through a wall.
Yes, it's funny stuff. But it can also break. Well, it broke my motivation. And it did break the game. But I could have fixed it if I had noticed it when it was happening.
Well, you would have probably platinumed already by now. You were flying
already.
Through the
No,
game.
I can't. See, I only was playing. I can only play like an hour and a half a day. I can't play like 6 to 7 hours of a game. So we probably wouldn't. If that didn't happen, we wouldn't have been able to record. I would have been like, yeah, give me a month and I'll have it platinumed.
Yeah.
Then we can really go deep with this. But no, it's still an enjoyable game. And if you want to. You have any more thoughts? Final thoughts. So
that's pretty much it. We've been a little long-winded on this, mainly me, because like I played a lot of it. I want to say I loved it. I guess I loved it. I really had a lot. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this game as much as I did, and I'm looking forward to the DLC, but I'm a little bummed because it's not going to be that long. It's going to be like something. Short.
It's just going to be probably
done.
A series of missions in some section. And
like maybe I'll play it again and when it comes out, but try V as a man and see the different dialogue, though I hear the voice actor for that wasn't really that good. So, we'll try it out on that.
Did your voice randomly turn into the male version when you were playing?
No.
Yeah, that happened once.
That happened to you?
Yeah.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that glitch.
It only happened like twice.
That's funny.
And it was just a single line of dialogue, and then it was right back to the female.
That's yeah. It's unfortunate, especially coming from the company that made Witcher, which that I haven't played it, but from what I hear, that's a very solid game.
It's a very similar open world RPG where your dialogue choices determine how the story progresses and how events take place.
And I'll probably get into
things.
the remaster of that coming out, right? It's a remaster.
Yeah, I think they already released it. It's just upscaled for PS5.
Yeah, maybe we'll go to a whirl. You've been telling me for years to try it, and we should cover it at some point.
Get that Get the complete edition. Drop $60. Get the complete edition. Comes with all like 37 DLCs.
God damn it.
But 3 of them are full story DLCs, and the rest are for the Gwent card game that's in the game, which I never played.
Well,
I didn't get it, and I just didn't care. But Gwent is such a popular game, they actually made a standalone version of the game that people
I'm not
bought.
surprised. I think I heard about that.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, that ends our discussion of Cyberpunk 2077. We did it. Now that we finished that, what are we discussing next week?
Mega Man? No? Oh, no. We're going to be watching the Edge Runners anime. Is it a movie or is it a series?
I thought it was a movie, but I think it's a series. So if it's a series, we'll just do the first couple episodes.
Okay.
If you want to keep going. But if not, just...
I'll take a look when I get home. It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see and I'll text you.
And the Talk of Mega Man, we'll do it soon. I've been actually going through that, too. I should have said that in the gaming zone. I'm on Mega Man 4 right now. So...
Okay. Well, I'm not...
No, I know you're
game.
not. I'm
Okay.
just trying to familiarize myself
okay.
with the songs because, listeners, I've been always more of a Mega Man X player.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm more familiar with those, so I want to play the other ones. And I already got some great choices, and I'm looking forward to that. We'll be doing that probably very
weeks.
soon. So keep that in mind, because if you have any... Let me fuck this up. If there's any Mega Man songs that you would like to,
Featured on that episode.
feature on that episode, you can reach out to us at 8bitmoviereview@gmail.com. And also send us anything that we missed discussing about Cyberpunk, which I don't think we did.
We covered everything.
We covered almost everything. And you can also send those comments on Facebook, Instagram, and now Twitter.
How long did you make your pubic hair in Cyberpunk? Tell us in inches or meters. Or if you
I thought personally you were asking me that question.
how long are your pubes? If you also want to listen to our backlog of video game movie reviews and game reviews, you can go to our website at anchor.fm/8bitpod. That gives you options to link to other streaming services, examples being Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and a comment. We'll read it on the podcast, maybe.
And don't forget, we're now on YouTube, so subscribe, motherfuckers. I'm Andrew Gonzalez.
I'm Johnny fucking Silverhead.
Oh my god, Keanu! Whoa.